And welcome back to the another episode of Daily Quiz for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 6th November today, and in this video we are going to solve some different types of questions which are relevant for your preparation. Before we'll start our discussion, I would like to give you the brief introduction about the video so that you will get more connected with it. In this video we discuss three types of questions. The first set of questions which we discuss here are taken from the current affairs. What we do, we take up the most important articles from the newspapers, we break them down into the simplest language possible, and we derive prelims based questions from those articles so that it will give you the idea how the questions do actually come in the exam. So this is the first set of questions which we discuss here. We take up the most important articles from the newspapers and we derive questions from those articles. After we will discuss these questions with respect to the current affairs, we will shift our approach towards the static portion topics. As you know, we had started discussing the static topics here and we had started with the Indian polity, and today we are going to derive some questions from the static topic also, as right now we are discussing the Indian polity, and in Indian polity we are right now discussing the fundamental rights, and in fundamental rights we are discussing article 32, in which we are going to solve the writ of mandamus. We will solve a question on the writ of mandamus, and it will give you the idea how discrete the topic may be, and how UPSC can ask questions from those discrete topics. So it will help you in your preparation. After we'll solve this question with respect to the static topic, as we would had already solved the questions with respect to the current affairs topics, we'll shift our approach towards the last part of our discussion, where we will solve some previous year questions. We'll try to find out the ways and methods by which we can solve those questions, and also how we can implement that knowledge in the upcoming exam. So without any delay, let us start our discussion by solving this question here. Question number 1, as it says, it is about the right to property. You may ask me, sir, what is the need of this question here, why we had brought this question. It is directly linked to the current affairs today, because the Supreme Court gave its verdict about the acquisition of the property by the government, and it said that, it clearly mentioned that the government cannot acquire any land which they seem fit. They have to, if they want to acquire any private land, they have to look at the what could be its use for the broader perspective. Earlier, about the right to property, we should know it has a long history behind it. Earlier it was given when the constitution was framed, it was given the status of the fundamental rights. It was mentioned in under article 19 as well as under article 31. It was given the status of the fundamental rights, but after the 44th constitutional amendment act, it was transferred as a legal right, as a constitutional right, and it was shifted to article 300A. So if you can ask, you can discuss here what was the reason for shifting this fundamental right, from shifting right to property from fundamental rights to giving it just a legal constitutional right. What was the reason for that? Then, to understand this question, we have to understand the Indian polity. Earlier, when our resources were very much limited, we were very much socialistic country earlier, and there was a need for the government to frame such policies which will benefit the broader population. So there was the need for this, and the government brought this right to property. They brought this 44th amendment act, and they transferred the right to property from fundamental rights to the constitutional right. And after it was given the constitutional status, it became easy for the government to frame laws with respect to the property. They can acquire any property from any private person. But right now, as the situation has changed, we are no more the socialistic country. We are not that socialistic country right now, and we are much more liberal country. And there is huge demand of privatization in our country. There is huge role of privatization in our country. So in taking this thing into the consideration, the Supreme Court right now, they gave this judgment that and this the acquisition of the property which the government has the right of it, it can't go for any private land. They have, if they want to acquire any property, they can't acquire any land which is on which they had eyes on. They can acquire only those lands which have broader public benefit. So this verdict came in this context. So with respect to this, I hope you had got the basic idea behind it. Now with this, let's try to solve the question and get more idea about it. Here the question says, which of the following statements about the right to property under the Indian Constitution are correct? First statement, the right to property was initially a fundamental right under Article 31 but was later removed from the list of fundamental rights by the 44th Amendment Act of 1978. 100% correct, nothing wrong with this statement. Statement 2, the right to property is now a constitutional right under Article 300A. 100% correct, which protects citizens from arbitrary disposition of property by the states. 100% correct, nothing wrong with this statement 2. Statement 2 is also correct. Now coming to the third statement, it says the 44th Amendment Act of 1978 made the right to property a part of the directive principles of state policy under part 4 of the Constitution. Totally incorrect, totally absurd statement. Coming to the last statement of this question, the statement says the states can acquire property under the doctrine of eminent domain, but the acquisition must be for the public purposes and with adequate compensation. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1, statement 2 and statement 4 only, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option B. So with this, I hope you had understood this question. You had understood what is the context behind it. Now let us shift our approach towards then another question and try to solve that. Here the question is about the minority education institutions. Now same question you can ask me, sir, why we had brought this question here? Because it is relevant to the another Supreme Court judgment which they have given here. Recently, if we would consider this, the UP government had brought up the Madrasa Education Board Act regulation of madrasas. These madrasas are the minority institutions for the Muslim communities. They have these where they give the essential teachings of Islam in these madrasas. So with respect to this, the UP government, they had brought up the Madrasa Education Board Act, in which they were going to regulate these madrasas with respect to the what kind of teaching should be there, the level of teaching should be there. So with respect to this, the Muslim community, usually they did not like it, and they went to the Allahabad court, and Allahabad court made it very much unconstitutional. It said that it is very much unconstitutional. It is violating the secularism. It is violating the basic feature of the constitution. But the story did not end there. This case went to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court gave it as interim, we can say interim judgment with respect to that. The Supreme Court said it is not violating the fundamental rights, because it is not violating the who would administer these madrasas. But what is government trying to do is they are trying to see what is the level of education there, and it is very much in the domain of the government to check the educational levels given in these institutions. So with respect to this, the Supreme Court said it does not violate the fundamental rights or the basic feature of the constitution. And also in madrasas, there is different level of teaching given from primary level to the college level, but in a Islamic manner. They will have the primary institutions there and darasgahs there, then those will shift. Then there are higher education where they get the mufti course and other ulama courses, and there, if we will equate them with the education we are getting from our schools, they would be equal. These mufti courses and other ulama courses which they get there, they will be equated with the post graduation or about 12th class, or college level education. And according to the Supreme Court, when such education is given, they should be under the control of the central government. So with respect to this, then when they are under the control of the central government, then the state government cannot interfere in those matters. So with respect to the primary education, the Supreme Court, the state government has has the rights to interfere in their educational status, to check in whether the education given in is up to the standard, what are the kinds what kind of teachers are teaching there, what is their educational status, and all that stuff. So this is the little background about this question, and now try to solve this question and get more idea about the minority education institutions. Here the question says, consider the following statements regarding the regulations of minority education institutions under the Indian Constitution. It's Article 30 of the Constitution grants religious and linguistic minorities the right to establish and administer educational institutions of their choice, free from state interference. 100% correct, nothing wrong with this statement. Statement 2. The Supreme Court has held the minority institutions are not exempt from the government regulation, especially in matters concerning adherence to standard of education. 100% correct. That if we have to, when it comes to the standard of education, then the governments can interfere. Third, Article 29 provides that no citizen shall be denied admissions to any educational institutions on the grounds of religion, race, caste, or language, and this applies equally to minority. This applies equally to minority institutions. No, it is totally incorrect. So statement 3 is incorrect here. Statement 4. Minority educational institutions are allowed to set their own admission policies but cannot reserve seats exclusively for members of their community. 100% correct. They have, they can set their own admission policies, but they cannot reserve this for exclusively for their community only. So this can't be done. So this statement is also correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1, statement 2, and statement 4. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option C. With this, let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here the question is about the basic structure doctrine. Why we had brought this question, because there was a discussion whether this basic structure doctrine applies to all the judgments or applies to all the laws framed by the government, or there is specification with respect to this. So there has been huge discussion, and the different judgments had been given with respect to it, like not like a Raja Narayan case, where they said that it should not apply to every ordinary judgment, but those which are which have higher, broader interpretations. And further in some judgments, it was further discussion, it was said that this basic structure doctrine, it should be kept with respect to the Constitutional Amendment Acts only, but it has not been applied yet. So let's try to solve this question and get more idea about it. This is the basic structure doctrine was propounded by the Supreme Court in Keshwananda Bharti case, 100% correct, 1973, which held the Parliament cannot amend the basic structure of the Constitution. 100% correct. Parliament can amend everything, but not this basic structure doctrine. The elements which are given under this, that can't be amended. Then let's see the second statement. It says the doctrine asserts that certain fundamental features of the Constitution, such as federalism, secularism, and democracy, cannot be altered or destroyed through the constitutional amendments. 100% correct, nothing wrong with this statement. Third statement, the basic structure doctrine is derived from the preamble of the Indian Constitution. Totally incorrect and misleading. It is not derived from the preamble of the Indian Constitution. But in the preamble of the Indian Constitution, there are some terms which are in this basic structure doctrine, which are the basic structure of our Constitution, and they were also added through. Some of them were added through the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act. Then coming to the fourth last statement, it says the basic structure doctrine applies only to amendments made under Article 368 and does not apply to laws made by the Parliament under its ordinary legislative powers. It is totally incorrect, but it was amended. It was recommended that it should apply only to the constitutional amendments, but not this one. So statement 4 is also incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2 only. With this, I hope you had understood the basic structure doctrine, the basic concept about it, where from it is derived, and what is its role with respect to the preamble, and what is its role with respect to Article 368, the Amendment Act of Indian Constitution. So with this, let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here the question is about the China-Pakistan economic corridor. Why we had brought this question? Because there was a terrorist attack on the Chinese workers in the Karachi port, and why there were Chinese workers in the Karachi port, because they are working on this China-Pakistan economic border CPEC, which is the part of the China's broader Belt and Road Initiative. Now let's try to get some idea from this question with respect to the China-Pakistan economic corridor. Here the question says CPEC is a multi-billion dollar infrastructure project aimed at connecting China's Xinjiang province to the Pakistan's Gwadar port. 100% correct. Through a network of roads, railways and pipelines. 100% correct. Nothing wrong with this statement. Statement 2. The corridor is a part of China's broader Belt and Road Initiative. 100% correct, which seeks to enhance global trade connectivity and improve economic cooperation between China and several countries. 100% correct. Nothing wrong with this statement. Third statement, the project includes the development of deep sea ports of Gwadar to facilitate trade between the China, the Middle East and the Africa. 100% correct. Nothing wrong with this statement. Statement 4, the CPEC project does not involve any investment in energy infrastructure or power generation. Totally incorrect. It does involve the investment in energy infrastructure and power generation. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1, 2 and 3 only, and from the code given below, the correct code is option A. So what was the reason for bringing such question? Because there was a terrorist attack in Karachi port, and who were the attackers? Mostly it was the Tehrik-e-Taliban of Pakistan. Now with this, let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here the question is about the Thadao community recently in news is mostly found in which state? We need to know about it because it is in the news. About them, they are the hill tribes. They are very much related to the you know now first let me answer this question. They are recently they are found in the Manipur. They are found in the Manipur, and we know that there are conflicts in Manipur with respect to the communities between Metis and Kukis. There are the conflict between Metis and Kukis, and they are very much near. They are very much this Thadao community. They are very much near to the Kukis, but as there are these attacks going on between these communities, they had withdrawn their support to the Kuki community. They are saying that they are very much independent of them, and they don't want to get involved in this in this civil war which is happening, in a kind of civil war which is happening in the Manipur. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option C. UPSC may ask you a question with respect to this community, where to which state does they belong? They belong to the Manipur. They are major hill tribes of the Manipur. So with this, let's move. With this, we had solved the questions with respect to the current affairs. Now let's shift our approach towards the static part of our discussion, which is solving the static topic questions here. And today's question is based on the writ of mandamus. Here the question says, consider the following statements regarding the writ of mandamus under the Indian Constitution. The first statement, the writ of mandamus is issued by a court to compel a public authority or official to perform a duty that is legally required but has been neglected or refused. 100% correct. Nothing wrong with the statement. It is issued by the Supreme Court with respect to the fundamental rights and High Court with respect to any right. Here we are discussing it with respect to the fundamental rights, as it is under the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Only they can issue these such writs with respect if the fundamental rights are violated. So with respect to the Supreme Court, here this statement is correct. Coming to the second statement here, it says the writ of mandamus can be issued by any public authority, including private individuals or bodies performing public functions, but not to the President of India or the governors of state. 100% correct. Here you need to know one thing, that for a specific private person, the writ of mandamus cannot be issued to me or you, because you are a private person. Right now you are just an aspirant or you are doing some work somewhere at home, this writ can't be issued to you. But once you become the IAS officers, once you attain any post of the government, then such writ can be issued against you, but not such writ can't be issued against a president of India or the governor of a state. This term here, including private individuals, you should understand it better. It is with when those private individuals are associated with some public function, then only it can be issued on them. Now coming to the third statement here, it says the writ of mandamus is specifically mentioned under Article 32 of the Indian Constitution as a remedy for the enforcement of fundamental rights. 100% correct. With respect to Article 32, it is issued as a remedy for the enforcement of fundamental rights. And when it comes to the high courts, then such a remedy, such a writ can be issued for any legal right. Then coming to the last part of the constitution, last part of the question, it says the writ of mandamus can be issued even if the petitioner has no personal interest in the matter, as long as the public duty is involved. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, all the four statements are correct. Sorry, I had not mentioned this here. You can say add 2 here. Let's mark this 1 2 1 1 2 3 and 4 correct. So option C will be correct option. 1 2 3 and 4, all the four statements are correct here. Now with this, I hope you had understood this. Now let's move towards the last part of our discussion, where we will solve some previous year questions. Here the question is about, with the reference to the Indian freedom struggle, Usha Mehta is well known for, with reference to the Indian freedom struggle, Usha Mehta is well known for running the secret Congress radio in the wake of Quit India movement. 100% correct. Second statement, participating in the second round table, no. Third, leading a contingent of Indian National Army, no. Fourth, assisting in the formation of interim government under Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, no. So with respect to this question, Usha Mehta, she was known with respect to the running the secret radio, Congress radio in the wake of Quit India movement. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option A. Now coming to the last part of our discussion, last question of our discussion, it says, with reference to the period of Indian freedom struggle, which of the following were recommended by Jawaharlal Nehru? First statement, complete independence for India, no. Second, joint electorate for the reservation of seats for minorities. 100% correct. Third, provisions of fundamental rights for the people of India in the constitution. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are option B and option C. With this, we complete today's discussion. I hope you would like the video. I hope you would share it with your friends, and I definitely hope you would subscribe the channel. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.